Forgiveness is a special kind of magic. It's not something you can see or touch, but you can feel it deep within your heart. It's like a gentle light that glows softly, illuminating the darkest corners of our souls. It wraps around hurt feelings, helping them feel safe and warm again. Imagine being wrapped in a cozy blanket on a cold night. That's what forgiveness does to our hearts. It provides comfort and a sense of security, making the pain a little more bearable. You see, forgiveness is a choice. It's not always an easy one, but it's a decision we make for our own well-being. It's about choosing to move forward rather than staying stuck in the past. It's about deciding to heal rather than letting wounds fester. It's a brave decision to let go of heavy things like anger or sadness from being wronged. These emotions can weigh us down, making it hard to move forward. But when we choose to forgive, we release these burdens, allowing ourselves to feel lighter and more at peace. It's like opening a window in a stuffy room, letting fresh air and sunshine pour in. The air becomes clearer, and the room feels more inviting. Forgiveness does the same for our hearts, clearing out the negativity and making space for positivity and joy. Imagine you're carrying a very heavy bag filled with sharp, pointy stones. Each step you take is painful, and the weight of the bag makes it hard to move forward. Each stone is a time someone hurt you or a mistake you made that you just can't forget. These stones are sharp and painful, constantly reminding you of past hurts and regrets. Forgiveness is like setting that heavy bag down. It's a conscious decision to let go of the pain and the weight, to stop carrying those sharp stones with you everywhere you go. Suddenly, you feel so much lighter. The relief is almost immediate, and you can finally breathe without the constant pressure on your shoulders. You can stand tall, breathe easier, and start to walk forward with a spring in your step. The world seems brighter and the future feels more hopeful. Now, this doesn't mean we pretend bad things never happened. Acknowledging the past is important, but we don't have to let it define us. It means those bad things no longer have power. They no longer control how we feel every day. We break free from the chains of resentment and bitterness. They no longer control how we feel every day. We reclaim our power and our peace of mind, allowing ourselves to enjoy life once more. Forgiveness is like finding a hidden key that unlocks a door inside our hearts. This key has always been there, waiting for us to discover it. Behind that door is peace, and a chance to be happy again. It's a place where we can find solace and start anew. This story shows us what forgiveness looks like, how it feels, and why it's one of the most powerful things in the world. It's a journey worth taking, a gift we give to ourselves, and a light that can guide us through the darkest times. Once upon a time, in a land not so different from our own, lived a kind father. He had a lovely home and a prosperous farm. He also had 2 sons. The older son was a good worker, steady and responsible. He helped his father every day and understood the rhythms of the farm. The younger son, however, had a different spirit. His eyes looked towards the horizon. He dreamed of big cities and exciting adventures. The quiet farm felt too small for his big dreams. One sunny morning, the younger son gathered his courage and went to his father with a bold request. "Father, I want my share of the estate now." The father listened, and his heart felt a pang of sadness, but with a heavy heart, he agreed, and gave the younger son his portion. With his pockets full of money, the younger son left home. He traveled to a distant country, a place full of bright lights and new experiences. He spent his money freely, bought expensive things, and threw lavish parties every night. Life seemed like one long celebration. He felt so alive and important. But easy money does not last forever, especially when it's spent so carelessly. Soon, the younger son's bags of coins grew lighter. Then they became empty. His new friends disappeared as quickly as his wealth. The parties stopped, the laughter faded, and he found himself alone. He was far from home, ashamed, and hungry. The bright adventure he sought had turned dark. He began to understand his mistake. Just as the younger son ran out of money, things got worse. He had squandered his inheritance on reckless living, and now he found himself with nothing. The once vibrant and bustling life he led was now a distant memory, replaced by a harsh and unforgiving reality. A severe famine swept through that distant land. The fertile fields that once promised abundance were now barren and lifeless. The sky, once clear and blue, was now perpetually overcast, casting a gloomy shadow over the land. Food became scarce and very expensive. Market stalls that once overflowed with fresh produce were now empty. People stood in long lines, hoping to get even a small portion of food to feed their families. The young man, once so proud and rich, grew desperate. His fine clothes were now tattered, and his once confident demeanor was replaced by a look of worry and despair. He wandered the streets, searching for any means to survive. He had to find work, any work, just to survive. He knocked on doors, asked for help, and scanned job postings, but opportunities were scarce. The desperation in his eyes grew with each passing day. His fine clothes were now ragged, and his spirit was low. He sat on the ground, feeling the weight of his poor decisions and the harshness of his current situation. The vibrant life he once knew seemed like a distant dream. He found a job with a local farmer, but it was not like his father's farm. The farmer was grumpy and the conditions were harsh. The farm was run down, a stark contrast to the well-kept estate he had grown up on. This farmer sent him into the fields to feed pigs. The young man, who had never done such menial work, found himself knee-deep in mud, tossing feed into troughs for the pigs. For a Jewish boy, this was the lowest job imaginable. Feeding pigs was not only physically demanding but also culturally degrading. He felt a deep sense of shame and disgust as he carried out his duties. He was so hungry he longed to eat the pods the pigs were eating, but no one gave him anything. His stomach growled with hunger and he eyed the pigs' food with longing, but even that was out of reach. One day, sitting there among the pigs, hungry and alone, he had a moment of clarity and realization. He thought about his life, his choices, and the path that had led him to this point. He thought about his father's house, the grand, warm home he had left behind, the comfort, the security, and the love that had once surrounded him. He remembered the hired servants there. They were always well-fed, happy, and treated with respect. Even the lowest servant in his father's house lived a better life than he did now. Even they had more than enough food to eat. The memory of the hearty meals they enjoyed made his current hunger even more unbearable. And here he was, the son, starving and miserable. He looked at his thin frame, a stark contrast to the well-fed servants he remembered. The realization of his folly hit him hard. He realized how foolish he had been. The regret was overwhelming. He had traded a life of comfort and security for a fleeting moment of freedom and pleasure. He knew he could not stay there. With a newfound determination, he stood up, ready to leave the pigsty behind. He knew he had to return to his father's house, no matter the cost. The son made a decision. I will set out and go back to my father, he thought. He knew he did not deserve to be called a son anymore. But maybe, just maybe, his father would take him back, not as a son, but as a hired servant. He started to practice what he would say. Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants. He repeated these words over and over. They were words of humility and repentance. He hoped his father would show him kindness. The hope was strong enough to push him forward on that long, dusty road back home. Each step was heavy with regret, but also light with a tiny flicker of hope. While the son was still a long way off, his father saw him. Imagine that moment. The father perhaps looked down that road every day, hoping, praying, his heart aching for his lost boy. And then, a familiar figure in the distance. Ragged, yes, bent over, yes, but it was him. The father's heart leaped. He did not wait. He did not hesitate. He did not think about the wasted money or the hurt caused. He was filled with compassion. The Bible says the father ran to his son, an older man running. This showed his great love and eagerness. He threw his arms around his son. He hugged him tightly. He kissed him. There were no words of anger, no lectures, only love, pure, unconditional love pouring out. The son must have been so surprised. The father's joy knew no bounds. He wanted everyone to celebrate. Bring the fattened calf and kill it, he commanded his servants. Let's have a feast and celebrate. This was a huge celebration. It was a party for a son who was lost and now was found. The father's heart was overflowing with happiness. His family was becoming whole again. For this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. The entire household began to prepare for the feast. Music started to play. There was an air of excitement and wonder. The father's love was so big, so generous. Meanwhile, the older son was out in the field. He had been working hard all day, as usual. As he came near the house, he heard something strange, music and dancing. He was confused. He called one of the servants over. He asked what was going on. The servant told him, "Your brother has come home. Your father has killed the fattened calf because he has him back safe and sound." The older brother became angry, very angry. He refused to go inside. He felt it was unfair. He had stayed home and worked faithfully for his father for so many years. The father spoke gently to his older son, his voice filled with a mix of compassion and understanding. He knew the feelings of his older son, the sense of being overlooked and underappreciated. "My son," he said, "you are always with me." His words were not just a statement but a heartfelt reassurance, a reminder of the bond they shared. He reminded him, "Everything I have is yours." This was not just about material possessions but about the legacy, the love, and the trust that had been built over the years. He affirmed his love and appreciation for his faithful son, who had stood by him through thick and thin, who had worked tirelessly for the family. He wanted him to know he was valued. He was not forgotten. His contributions, his loyalty, and his love were deeply cherished. His place in the family was secure. There was no question about his importance or his role within the family. The father's love was big enough for both sons. It was a love that expanded and grew, encompassing all their flaws and strengths. It was not a limited supply that ran out. Love, in its truest form, is infinite and ever-giving. Then the father explained the joy of the moment. His heart was overflowing with happiness and relief. "But we had to celebrate and be glad," he said. "This was a moment of pure joy, a celebration of life and redemption. Because this brother of yours was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found." These words carried the weight of a miracle, a transformation that was nothing short of extraordinary. He tried to help the older son see beyond his own feelings, to understand the bigger picture, the profound significance of his brother's return, to see the miracle of his brother's return. It was a moment that transcended personal grievances and touched the core of human experience, to share in the overwhelming relief and happiness, the joy of reunion, the beauty of forgiveness, and the strength of family bonds. This beautiful story is like a window into the heart of forgiveness. It shows us the depth and breadth of love that can heal and restore. It shows us the journey of making mistakes, the paths we take, the errors we make, and the lessons we learn along the way. The courage it takes to return, to face our past, to seek forgiveness and to hope for acceptance. And the incredible, boundless love that welcomes us home. A love that does not judge but embraces, that does not condemn but forgives. It's a song of hope for everyone, a reminder that no matter how far we stray, there is always a way back home.